Operating system is an interface between user and the computer hardware. It is also called as a resource manager. It is a control program. Why? Because it controls all the user programs. And next, it is also called as a kernel. Kernel is the heart of the operating system. The functionalities of a kernel is file management, memory management, process management, and CPU management. So by this, we can conclude the definition and what an operating system is. So what is the next topic? The abstract view of operating system. What is an abstract view of operating system? Abstract view of computer system. Right? What is an abstract view? For example, user one. User one is willing to, for example, this is user one has a need. I want to edit the document. So I require a text editor, right? Someone want to work with a database system. So the user two may work with a database system, right? User two. Like that, user n. User one n may willing to work with a compiler in order to compile their C program. Like that, each and every individual user has their own need. So whenever the user want to access these applications, all these are available in the computer hardware, right? All these are available in the computer, right? So operating system need to be there in between the user and the computer hardware, right? So operating system, users on the computer hardware. What is there inside in between? Interface, right? User and the computer hardware. In between these two, operating system is available. That is the reason why operating system is an interface between user and the computer hardware. Okay. And the next thing what I would like to convey to you is operating system services. There are so many operating system services. These are total 9 operating systems are available. Let me save the things. Right. So far up to this point we covered, sorry. And the next one, computer system components. I already told you, na. So coming to computer hardware, CPU, memory, IO devices, all those are comes under hardware. And the top layer is operating system. So what operating system? Operating system can control and coordinate. Operating system will control the user as well as the hardware, right? So why? Because it is an interface between user and the computer hardware. And the next one, application programs. What are the application programs? It may be a compiler, it may be a video game, it may be a database system, it may be a business program. All these applications are used by the user, right? All these are called as application programs. Why we are using? So users are used application programs in order to solve their daily problems, right? And the last one, user. A user may be a people, it may be other machine or a computer, other computer, right? So these are the four components available in this particular diagram. Computer hardware. Under the computer hardware, what we have? It may be a CPU, it may be a memory, it may be a disk file, right? And next, what is an operating system? It control and coordinates user as well as the computer hardware. And next, all these are called as application programs used by the user. Compiler, assembler, text editor and database system or video games, WhatsApp application. All these are applications used by the user, or sorry, we should not use the word use, accessed by the user, right? And next, who is a user? A user may be a person, a user may be a machine. That's it, right? Up to this point, is it clear for you all? Is it clear for you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And the next one. So all these are the services of operating system. So there are total 9 services. User interface operating system, program execution in operating system, file system manipulation in operating system. Like that individually we'll go. If you have any doubt, let me know. So user interface. What is an interface? Right? So usually interface means where we connect to the machine. For example, you have a screen, touch screen, right? So that is an interface for your mobile. With that, you can access the applications, right? Like that, in our computer also, these interfaces are divided. User interfaces are divided into 3 categories. The first one is a command line interface. Second one is a batch interface. And the third one is the graphical user interface. Now we are all using graphical user interface, right? Earlier we have a batch based. Before that we have a command line interface. First, what is a command line? Initially, if a user wants to work with a computer, the user need to give a commands to the computer. So the system can only understand the commands. Okay. If you want to open a WhatsApp application, for example, if you want to open any of the application which is available in the computer, the user need to give a command to the computer in order to open that application or open that file. The user need to give a command. Okay. That is the reason why it is called as command line interface. Text commands. The user has to feed the text commands, right? Later, it will be changed to batch interface. Batch interface means multiple number of commands will form like a batch, not individual commands. Earlier, what people did? So earlier, the user need to give a single command. After getting the result, then the user need to give the second command. Like that fashion, the user need to submit the commands in order to work with the machine. Later on, multiple number of commands will be formed like a batch. Those batch of commands, like bunch of commands, will be given to the computer. Okay, that is the difference between command line interface and batch interface. And the third one is a graphical user interface. So what is a graphical user interface? Now we are using graphical user interfaces. So just I want to open a file. What I am doing? Now I want to minimize the PPT. Just a point of click. If I want to open a PPT again, I will just click. And with a point, with a cursor, we can send a command to the, with just a single click, we can send a command to the computer. That is a graphical user interface. Mouse, trackball, all these are comes under graphical interface device, pointing devices. Right? The mouse is a pointing here. I'm using a mouse to point the close button, right? I can minimize, I can maximize, right? With the help of mouse, I can do any of the operation. So I can point anywhere, right? I can go, I can point home, I can point insert, I can point design, like anything I can point with a mouse. And I can perform any of the operation with a click. Just a click. Just a click. Right? So this is the first service provided by the operating system, user interface of operating system. Command line interface, batch interface, graphical interface. Command line interface means earlier people use it to give commands to the computer. Later on, multiple commands, take the multiple commands and form like a batch and submit to the computer. After that, now we are using graphical user interface. The second service of operating system, program execution in operating system. As I told you earlier, whenever you want to run a program, you need to load the program into the main memory, right? If you want to run your C program, you need to load your program into the main memory. Operating system will load the program into the main memory and then we can execute that program, right? And next, file system manipulation in operating system. File system manipulation means what are the operations usually we can perform with a file. We can create a file, we can open a file, we can read a file, write to the file, and we can delete the file, we can rename the file, we can give the permissions to a file. Okay, for example, you have a gallery folder. So to your gallery folder, you can set the password so that no one else can open the gallery. That means we can protect the files, right? So all these are comes under file system. We can create, we can read from a file, we can write to the file, we can delete the file, we can rename the file, we can move the file, we can copy the file, right? All those things are done by the operating system. And the fourth service, IO operations. So IO operations means, so whenever you want to read the information from a file, actually where the file is available? File is available in the hard disk. Hard disk comes under the secondary memory, right? So whenever you want to open a file or whenever you want to read the information from a file, so actually we need to send a request. We need to send a request to the file, read request. Whenever you want to write to the file, we need to send a write request, right? All these are called read operation, write operation. So all these are called as input-output operations. So all those operations are performed with the help of operating system. So operating system provides input-output operations, which means read or write operation with any file, right? So user cannot, this is very important point you need to understand. Users cannot directly handle the IO devices. So input-output devices are not at all handled by the user directly. So all those are handled by the operating system. You cannot directly interact with the IO devices. You cannot directly interact with the IO devices. You need to remember this point. It is very, very much important for your further classes. So user cannot interact with the device directly. Okay. And the next one, communication system. So what is meant by communication? So communication means sending information from one place to another place. Now here we have two programs. For the best example for this. For example, you have WhatsApp application in your mobile and you have one more application. What is it? Mail, right? Whenever you want to send a particular picture from mail to WhatsApp application, you can send a picture from your mail to WhatsApp, right? That means you are sending information from your mail application to WhatsApp application. That is called as communication. Communication is nothing but exchanging of information from here and there. So the two processes may be available in a single computer or a process in one computer and another process is available in another computer. What is an example? For example, you can send a message from your mobile to your friend's email address, right? You can send a mail from your mobile to your friend mobile, right? That means what I mean to say is the two process may need not to be in a single machine. Process one be in a one machine, process two be in another machine. We need to call a WhatsApp application as a process here. In this particular example, process is nothing but WhatsApp application. The other process means Gmail. So internally, when they are running, we need to call them process. I already told you in the morning class, whenever we run a program, we need to call it as a process, right? So whenever you want to use the WhatsApp application, the WhatsApp application will be loaded from secondary memory to main memory. Then CPU execute that application. So it will be called as a process, right? From that WhatsApp application process to your mail process. These two processes may not be in the same machine. One process in one machine and another process in another machine may also communicate with each other. That is what I want to convey to you, right? Observe here, process executing on same computer system or different computer systems can communicate using the operating system. There are two important types of communication mechanisms. First one is shared memory and the second one is the message passing. So might be in a second unit we covered this topic. It is a separate topic, shared memory and message passing. These two are the communication mechanisms. If two processes are willing to communicate with each other, either they need to follow a shared memory technique, might need to follow message passing. Shared memory and message passing are the two examples for, or sorry, two techniques for the communication mechanisms, right? And the next one, resource allocation. I already told you, jobs means here process running concurrently. That means parallelly. In the morning, we have already discussed one example. We can, at the same time, we can listen to the music using a MP3 player. At the same time, we can run the C programming. At the same time, we can browse something in a Google, right? So all these things we can work parallelly. So that the CPU need to be allocated to all the three processes. The main memory need to be allocated to all the three processes. Why? Because we are using all the three applications right now. Okay. So operating system is responsible for allocating the resources to that particular program, right? So what are the resources we require to run the C programming? In order to run the C program need to be in the main memory. So we require main memory. The C program need to be executed by the CPU processor. So we require a processor. Likewise, each and every program requires some of the system resources, right? So the resources may be CPU cycles, the resources may be the main memory, a resource may be a file, a resource may be a device. All these are called as system resources, right? Operating system is responsible for allocating these resources to a processes, right? And the next one, error detection. Whenever you are running with a computer, if there is any problem occurred during your work, so automatically the operating system will try to correct the error and provide you the consistent service, uninterrupted services to the user. So whenever an error occurs, the operating system is always try to solve the problem. That is called as error detection. It will detect the error and it will try to correct the error so that the user can work with a machine conveniently. I already told you in the definition of operating system, design goal of operating system, the operating system provides a convenient and efficient environment, right? So whenever there is a trouble for the user, operating system is always try to solve that particular problem, try to correct the problem. So here we should not use the word problem. We need to call it as an error, right? And the eighth one, accounting. Accounting means for each and every process, operating system need to allocate the resources. For example, in our computer, we are using 3 applications right now. I am running a C programming, I am listening to the music, and I am browsing the Internet Explorer, and I am sending a message using a WhatsApp. So all these 4 are running in my computer. So all these 4 applications execution, all these 4 processes require some resources. Which process consumes how many number of resources? That is called as accountability. Process 1 requires CPU. Process 2 also requires CPU. Process 3 also requires CPU. So these three processes requires the CPU. But how much time? The time is different, right? For pre-programming execution, you require some seconds of time, milliseconds of time for the execution, right? Like that fashion, each and every individual process has their own need of CPU cycles. Like fashion, CPU, like a CPU cycles, memory is also not same, right? Your PUBG requires much storage area, right? Ludo requires less storage area when compared to PUBG. That is the reason why when you want to play PUBG, when you click the PUBG, it will take much time to open. Why? What is the reason? Why? Because PUBG is of big size application. It consumes lots of your storage area. That is the reason why whenever you want to play with the PUBG, you will just click the PUBG, touch the PUBG game. Automatically the PUBG will be loaded from secondary memory to main memory. So it took much time for the loading. Why? Because PUBG requires much storage area. We're coming to Ludo. Ludo will be loaded immediately when compared to PUBG. Why? Because Ludo is less in size. That means each and every individual process has different requirements for their execution, right? So all those resource consumption will be noted by the operating system. So operating system is accountable for everything. So that is the reason why operating system will take care of it. So which process consumes how many number of resources? Process 1 consumes how much memory? Process 1 requires how many number of CPU cycles? Process 1 requires any device resources. Process 1 requires any file operations. Like that fashion, process 2 opens any file. Process 2 is willing to write something on a file. Like that fashion, each and everything will be noted down by the operating system. And the next one, protection and security. So all the resources are allocated to the processes. Once the resources are allocated to the process need to be use the resources which were allocated to you. Process 1 requires 50 KB of memory. So I have given from 1024 to 1074. Those memory locations I have allocated to process 1. So what process 1 has to use that memory only. Process 1 should not try to access the memory which was allocated to the some other process, right? So once I conclude with this services, I will let you know again, okay? And next, operating system is responsible for authentication. And before you enter into your system, you need to give your proper username and password. Then only you are eligible to enter into the machine. That is called as authentication, okay? Up to this point, is it clear for you all? Up to this point, is it clear for you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Protection and security. So illegal access is not allowed. Operating system is not allowed the illegal access. Whatever the resources allocated to the process need to access that resources only. And next, whenever you are enter into the system, you need to give proper username and password. Then only you are allowed to enter into the machine. So then only you are log on to the machine. That is about protection and security. And the 8th point is accounting. That means how many process are using how many number of system resources. And error detection. When there is an error, the operating system is always try to detect the error and correct the error. And resource allocation. So depending upon the requirement of a program, the operating system will allocate the required resources to that particular program so that the CPU can execute the program. Okay, whatever the resources required for the program execution, all those resources need to be allocated to that particular program by the operating system. That is called as resource allocation. And next, communication system. If two processes in a single machine willing to communicate with each other, or a process in one machine or a process in another machine willing to communicate with each other. Both the cases, operating system provides two wonderful mechanisms for us. The first one is a shared memory and the second one is a message passing. By using these two techniques, the two processes are communicate with each other. And next, IO operations in operating system. So we can perform operations like read operation, write operation, or closing a file. So all those things, copying a file, all those things, all those operations we can able to perform because of the operating system. And next, file system manipulation. File system means we can create a file, we can remove a file, or we can delete a file, we can copy the file, we can move the file, we can rename the file, whatever the file operation we want to perform on a file, all those things are happen because of the operating system. And next, program execution, right? So operating system is responsible for loading your program into the main memory, so that once it is loaded into the main memory, we can execute the program. And the first one, user interface. There are three types of user interfaces: command line, batch, and then graphical user interface. Command line means user have to give the commands. Batch interface means group of commands will be combined and form like a batch. Those batch of commands will be fed to the computer. And then graphical user interface. Graphical user interface means now we are using graphical user interface. Whenever you want to open a file, just point to that file and a click, point and click. Just we can open and close the applications or files, right? All these are comes under operating system services. So up to this point, do you have any doubt? Let me know. Right? Do you have any doubts? Can I ask you questions? What is booting? You there? What is booting? Anyone can give the answer. I told you in the morning. What is booting?
The process of starting a computer.
Of course, you are true, but not clear so far. So booting means loading OS from secondary memory to main memory. The process of loading operating system from secondary memory to main memory, right? That is called as a booting. Okay. And next question. Which memory is a permanent memory? Which memory is a permanent memory?
Secondary memory.
Right. What are the examples of secondary memory? Secondary memory.
Hard disk.
Examples.
Hard disk.
Very
Pen
good.
drive.
Right.
CD,
DVD, floppy. So all these are comes under secondary memory. Secondary memory is a permanent memory, right? And next, when the applications will be removed from the secondary memory, when the information available in the secondary memory will be removed.
If we delete the particular application.
Yes. Whenever you delete the things, then only the applications are removed from the secondary memory. If you won't delete the applications are available in the secondary memory. That is the reason why it is called as permanent memory, right? And next, main memory. Is the main memory permanent memory or temporary memory?
Temporary memory.
Temporary memory, right? So temporary means at what time the information is available in the main memory.
If we open some particular application.
Of course, whenever you open an application, it will be loaded from secondary memory to main memory, no doubt.
Main memory.
So until at what time it will be available?
It will be available till we close that application.
Yes, very good. It will be available
Till we close the application.
And next, one more point. Whenever you turn off, there is a power off or turn off or sudden power failures or a sudden power failures, automatically whatever the information available in the main memory, all the information will be erased from main memory, right? So for example, if it is a main memory, how the main memory is divided?
Into partitions.
What the partitions are called? Main memory is divided into partitions. This is 0th location, right? Like so, these are called as blocks. Okay. So initially, operating system is loaded from 0th location to some location, depending upon the size of the operating system. What is the operating system available in your mobile phones? What are the? Can you give any example? Operating system?
Android mobile.
Android.
Linux, Windows.
Android, Linux, Windows, all those are Linux operating system.
iOS.
Systems are for desktops. I'm asking about mobile phones.
Okay. Sorry, ma'am. It's Android.
iOS for.
Ma'am, even Windows and mobiles are also available.
Windows also used, but those are not convenient and not support multiple applications. Usually Nokia.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, ma'am.
Android will be maintained by Google. Windows operating system is maintained by Microsoft. Right? All those are the mobile operating systems. So just for your not required for this particular topic, but you need to know what are the operating system available for the mobile phone. So all these operating systems are work for the small touch screen devices only. Android, iOS, all these things are for small touch screen devices. Whereas Linux, Windows, so all these are for desktops, big screen devices. Right? Any doubts? So with this class, we will conclude. Okay. We have covered two topics. The first one is introduction to operating system and definitions of operating system. And next, what is an abstract view of our computer components. And next, second one is operating system services. Sorry. There are total 9 services. 9 services. We have covered 9 services and the operating system definition as well as diagram. That's it for today. Okay. Can I close the session? Do you have any doubts or can I close the session? Can I end the session?
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.